What's up guys, and welcome back to another Sun and Moon coverage video, and this is going to be the first of a few top 10s or tops I'm going to be doing in the run up to the games, basically discussing, some top choices basically. This video is going to be the top 10 features that should return in Sun and Moon. This isn't really like, oh yeah, they should because, it would make sense, but it's, the ones we want to return basically. And it's not going to be, I'd spoken in previous videos about stuff like Pokémon and stuff like that. It's not going to be sort of mechanics, it's going to be more actual features of the game, as you'll sort of see as we go through the list. Of course, feel free to, as we go through the list, say your thoughts on anything here, or add your own suggestions, and of course you can also suggest other top 10, top 5, whatever, that you want to see from me in the run up to Sun and Moon. So let's just kick off this list at number 10. We have the Underground from Pokemon Diamond, Pearl and Platinum, or something similar to that. Now, if you don't remember the Underground, or if you've never played Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, the Underground was like a separate area to Sinnoh, and it was underground. You could access it from basically any area in Sinnoh. You'd use your Underground kit, I think it was called, or Explorer's kit. You'd go down to the Underground, and basically there were loads of tunnels that would run around everywhere. And there were a few things you could do down there. The first one, which was sort of the main feature, I guess, of it, was you could use, there's a little mini game basically where you could basically, look for items in the walls. So these could be fossils, heart scales, even plates for Arceus, as well as some other little items as well. And this was a really fun little mini game just to do yourself, because instead of having, there only being one of each type of plate, you could find unlimited amounts. So there was no real sort of limit on what you could get. Plus fossils again, you could get the 2 normal Sinnoh fossils, I think, in the normal game. But once you've finished the post game, you could get, I think, all of them, or you might even be able to get all of them anyway. Anyway, the fossils were, free. You could get as many as you want, basically. You just had to play the mini game, which is really, really fun to do as well. As well as other things you can do in the Underground was stuff like you could actually build a secret base there. So that's sort of when they went from Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald to secret bases there. They then put that into Diamond and Pearl, but in a different manner. And secret bases were implemented in the Underground. It wasn't as good because obviously you just had it in a tunnel somewhere, so you had to sort of just choose a random spot. But you could decorate your secret base, you could buy traps for it and stuff like that. It wasn't that utilised because obviously there was no online play, so it was just wireless and local, so it wasn't amazing. I never, I might have met 1 or 2 people, but I never openly met people and, visited their bases on the game. It was sort of just a thing I did solo, so the secret base aspect was lost on me when I played the games, but the minigame was fun. So I think the base aspect of that would be interesting to see return in Sun and Moon, not as like an underground section, but another area where there's a little minigame or something along those lines to collect items, and then maybe interact with other players as well. Not necessarily have the secret bases built into that, but just a way of interacting with other players, similar to the Pokemon Dream World that was for Generation 5, but in the game itself, rather than have to go on the computer and play little mini games on there, which were kind of boring. So that's number 10. Number 9 is the difficulty settings from Black 2 and White 2. Again, if you don't play the games, the thing about these difficulty settings is they were quite interesting, okay, the way they actually did it. Basically, there was the easy mode, normal mode, and challenge mode in Black 2 and White 2. Now, the normal mode was the only one available at the start, the first time you played the games, and you had to actually unlock the other 2. The easy mode was actually White 2 only, White 2 exclusive, and the challenge mode was Black 2 exclusive, and these respective modes were unlocked when you beat the game basically. So you beat the game the first time in normal mode, and then you unlocked easy or challenge respectively, and then once you start the new game you could then choose it. So modes don't really work that well in Pokemon in general, because of course you can't choose more, can't have more than one save file, so you can't say I'm going to go through normal here and then I'm going to go for the hard mode on again. Oh, you have to get rid of it. Brilliant. But the way you could actually get easy and challenge mode on the other versions was actually sharing it via the, I don't know what it was called, but via some sort of link, basically like local wireless. And you could say, so if you had the easy mode and a friend had challenge mode, you could switch it so you could both use it on each one. It was really stupid how they did it, having challenge mode exclusive to Black 2 only, because why? It just makes no sense to me at all. But what it actually did was basically either increased or decreased the artificial intelligence of enemy trainers, actually increased and decreased levels of Pokemon as well, and up in the Elite Four, every Elite Four member had an extra Pokemon in their party, and all of their IVs were 30, so it's like a boosted the difficulty up a fair bit, not amazingly but a fair bit. So it would be really interesting to see it actually implemented in Sun and Moon in a different manner, of course. So don't have an easy mode, because there's no point saying, oh yeah, you beat the game on normal difficulty, now let's play through it again, but easier. That's not gonna make, this doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense at all. Have a normal mode, a basic mode that's unlocked when you first play the game. Maybe also have a hard mode that's unlocked when you play the game as well, which just increases the levels a bit. And then also have maybe a challenge mode or an expert or a master mode, which is unlocked when you beat the game the first time. So then the next time you play it, maybe if you want to, you can use the master mode, something along those lines. Obviously it would work better if you had multiple save files. Even if it doesn't, though, it might just be a feature they add in, because they did it in Black 2 and White 2. It hasn't returned since, possibly because it wasn't that much used a feature, and had that much used. It doesn't make any sense, but it wasn't a feature that was used overly, but it would be interesting to see it return. So, number 8, I have put down as the Versus Seeker. So this is really a feature that hasn't been used for a long while, but it appeared in Fire and Leaf Green as well as Diamond, Pearl and Platinum, and it gives you the ability to basically rebattle any or almost any trainer after you've beaten them the first time. So you can use the Versus Seeker in the area. Some trainers will say, yes, I want to battle again, and some won't. Every now and again they will level up, I think depending on badges, or maybe how many times you battled them. Their Pokemon will level up, maybe they will evolve. This feature wasn't really used at all since, yes, in ORAS you had the Match Call feature, but the Match Call feature I feel like was very, it's same as in Ruby and Sapphire originally, it's a very, very stagnant and static feature. You have to wait until the person says, yes, I want to battle, and this could take, in Ruby and Sapphire it was terrible. I don't know how much better it is in ORAS, but it's still really static. It's a case of you have to wait for them to battle you, rather than, you just say, you having to just say, okay, I'm going to battle this person. Yes, okay, you might have to run around a few times and use the Versus Seeker before they actually want to battle, but it's still better than having to just, do other things in the game while you're waiting for a rematch on someone. And it was actually really good. Just for training in general, whereas Match Call you can't do that, because even if at the start of the game, okay, cool, I've got 3 badges, I've got about 10 trainers on my Pokémon, okay, one of them wants a battle, that's not going to give you any levels up at all. So Versus Seeker was very, very useful for training. In Fire and Leaf Green you got it in Vermilion City, in Diamond and Pearl you got it in the after game I think, whereas in Platinum you got it when you first reached Mount Coronet, which is a lot better. So it's very useful training in the pre-game and also the post-game as well, because if you think about post-game for X and Y, the only people you can train against are people in the cafes. So basically it would just be a lot more helpful to actually train, during the main game. It makes training easy rather than having to sort of figure out where and when you can train, and obviously the cafe you have to figure out specifics. Okay, I have to use these 2 Pokemon as, my double battle team, and then I can put 4 Pokemon I want to train, whereas you can actually just go and physically battle rather than just getting 2 strong Pokemon for the cafes in X and Y and just sweeping through. It gets very, very boring that way, whereas the Versus Seeker you can battle any trainer. So of course if you're training grass type, yes, you can go into a cave and or you can go find a hiker who has rock types and you can train them there, rather than using the experience share. The only, obviously I'd like to see it return, but in previous games you can actually use it in caves or buildings. I would love to see it used in caves and buildings this time, because obviously sometimes there weren't that many hikers around, for example, whereas in caves there's loads of hikers. Obviously in some situations like Team Rocket in Silph Co you don't want to rebattle them, but of course they can just add something in the game there to stop them actually replying to you. So the next one, at number 7, we have Seasons. This was a Generation 5 exclusive feature, didn't return in Generation 6 at all. Could it return in Sun and Moon? It's a possibility. I would like to see it return at least. It added an extra depth to the game. Basically, if you don't know, play Gen 5 or if it's been a while, these seasons cycled every month, so you'd have spring one month, summer the next, autumn the next, and then winter, or autumn or fall I should say. Autumn and then winter, so 1 season a month. This obviously made it so that if there was an area you could only access in winter, you didn't have to wait a full year to actually access it. It was just a few months, so it wasn't too bad. And obviously, some features that actually accessed was Deerling and Swordsbuck. Obviously, in each respective season, you would have a different version of one in the wild, whereas nowadays it's just breeding them basically. Weather differences, so in the winter, obviously, it might be snowing on more routes than it would be in summer. In spring and autumn, you might have more rain, for example. And also, there were time differences per month. So in the summer, the day started earlier than it did in the winter, for example, which makes it a bit more realistic. Because otherwise, if it's just one static, okay, day starts at 5 AM and goes on till 7 or whatever, it made it really weird in the winter. and it's like 7 PM, it's pitch black dark, and and you can't evolve an Umbreon, for example. You guys get the idea. It makes it a bit more realistic almost. And of course, as I mentioned, some areas can only be accessed during the during certain seasons. So when it was winter, some snowbanks allowed you to get up onto some places and get some items. So it was a bit, actually made you revisit some routes sometimes. And there were also some battle changes, like with N, I think he did use a different team depending on the season. So it would be really interesting to see it return, just because it's so many different things, actually add varieties to the game. Some routes in winter will be covered in snow, some in summer it won't be covered in snow. So it'll be slightly different, a bit more variation to it, especially with the weather patterns, because otherwise each battle, each month, all the time is using the same weather, so you never actually see that much rain or snow in battle, where in X and Y there's only 1 or 2 routes that have snow, and then 1 or 2 routes that have rain, basically. So whereas if they had the seasons, it could get a lot more variation again there. But then moving on to number 6, it's similar, and this is a full day and night cycle. Now you say, well, there's day and night in ORAS, that was there anyway. It's not a feature we haven't seen. It's a feature that's always been there. Technically, yes, but a full day and night cycle expands on it a bit more. Basically, the way day and night worked, it was introduced in Generation 2, and you had like certain Pokemon that only appeared at night, like Hoothoot. Eevee was introduced with new evolutions, and there were loads of different things in Generation 2 that only happened at day or night. Trainers would be out and such like that. Then Generation 3, mentioning there was not in Fire and Leaf Green, there was no day and night, but in Ruby and Sapphire there was day and night, except that was it. It was just day and night. There were no differences. There were no Pokemon exclusive to night or exclusive to day. There were no trainers around exclusive to day or night. That was it. It was just there as sort of a timer, basically. In Generation 4, these functions did return when you had like policemen at night. You had Pokemon that only appeared at night and day and had different, apparition, different rates of appearing during different times of the day, basically. However, in Generation 5, it returned, but there were no variation. This, of course, was replaced by seasons, because obviously only certain Pokemon can be found in some places during certain seasons, so it replaced that there. But then when we got to Generation 6, we lost seasons, but we didn't again, we didn't get any variation in time or day. In Generation 6, or especially in X and Y, every Pokemon is available at every time of the day, so there's no variation there. I would love to see an actual full day and night cycle where there's certain stuff, certain Pokemon can be found at night or in day. Actually makes you work for the game almost, rather than saying, okay, so these 5 Pokemon are found on this route, I'm just going to go and catch these 5 Pokemon right now. Whereas if one of them was only found at night or was very rare during the day, you could say, okay, I'm going to catch these 4 now and I'll come back for one later on. So it actually adds a bit more depth to the game again. So we're halfway through, down to number 5. I am picking the Friend Safari for this one. Yes, it was in X and Y, but it did not return in ORAS. I would love to see it back in Sun and Moon, because 1, it was a load of interaction between your friends. You could share friend codes, and obviously different friends have different Pokemon, so you could share them online, you could share with your other friends, to make a friend list where you could find these certain Pokemon you wanted to. Plus there was an increased shiny chance, remember, for the Friend Safari, so if you wanted this particular shiny, then you'd have to go and find a person with the Friend Safari of that Pokemon, then you could add them. It was a lot more interaction. Obviously the shiny hunting style was another great addition. Maybe one of the reasons it didn't return at ORAS is because we had the Dex now, which helped you pick, find shinies, so we didn't need a Friend Safari. But I would love to see it return Sun and Moon. It would only make sense because obviously X and Y are the first one in Generation 6, Sun and Moon are going to be the first games in Generation 7. It would only make sense to see it return in a similar style. Maybe with some minor changes though, so instead of, a friend code being fixed to have these single free Pokemon, maybe there was something you could do in game to re-roll your friend code maybe. Obviously you don't make it so you can re-roll it again and again and again, because obviously then you and your friend can just do it until you get the exact Pokemon you want to hunt, for example. But maybe have some sort of, okay, if you defeat 5 to 10 Pokemon in the Friend Safari, then you can change it. Something along those lines, but I'd like to be able to change, because otherwise it was just too static. Then at number 4 I have Secret Bases. This is one of the things that people were most excited for in ORAS. Myself, it's not a feature I really relish in. I don't make use of it, I just simply play the game. I don't sit around, but I know a load of people love it, so it'd be cool to see it return. Because it returned in ORAS, I doubt it's going to return in Sun and Moon. It wasn't an X and Y in any form. and it wasn't in Black 2 White or in Generation 5 at all. So I'm doubtful it's going to return, but I would love to see it return because it just a load of fun interaction with battling, traps and gym-like areas. Plus also you can just spend time designing your own your own area basically. So I'd like to see it return, but I doubt it will. But it's definitely on the list. Then at number 3 we have trainer customization. Obviously, something we've spoken about before for Sun and Moon. Trainer customization really has to return from X and Y because otherwise people are going to be upset. Yes, the reason we didn't have an ORAS is because we had original characters that were being remade, so you keep the same characters. But in Sun and Moon we're going to have new characters, new trainers, so why not let us customize it? Make 2 basic ones, why not? But let us customize it as well, just to make the game our own. Plus add extra customizations to, when you're making your character, don't just give us the choice of 3 people, okay, this person's got light skin, this person's got medium skin, and this person's got black skin. Give us, choose your skin tone, choose your hair color, maybe choose a hairstyle at the start as well, instead of having to make you get a haircut later on. Also, choose your eye colour sort of thing, so you can customise your trainer at the start of the game, rather than having to play with someone that doesn't look like you at all until you get further on. Plus, add extra accessories to the games, add extra stuff that you can actually add in. Maybe, I can't remember, some games you actually see your trainer sprite at the start of the battle, maybe do that, so you can actually add accessories to your outfit and you can see them when you enter a battle, something along those lines. And also, no hats. Stop making us wear hats. Allow us to do something else. Allow us to wear no hats or something else. I don't know. Maybe a little bow tie under us. I don't know. But yeah, trainer customization has to return. I mean, come on, Game Freak. You know we want it. You know you want to do it. Just bring it back. So number 2, final 2, guys. You might be able to guess which one it says. It is the Battle Frontier. So everyone loves the Battle Frontier. It's post-game stuff to do. I'm not a huge fan of it myself, just because I don't spend a lot of time in the facilities actually battling, but it was in Emerald, then it returned in Platinum, and it was also in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but we haven't seen it since. Everyone was sure it was going to return in ORAS because obviously it would only make sense, it's a remake, why not add it in? But we were just given the Battle Resort, which had the Battle Maison, and a very cryptic coming soon Battle Frontier, which we haven't seen it. Maybe people thought DLC, but no, nothing. So it would be really cool to see a Battle Frontier in Sun and Moon, or maybe if not in normal Sun and Moon, in the remake, in the sequel of Sun and Moon, not the remake, the sequel, if there is one, of course, or the sequels, because obviously it would just be great. Maybe have the Battle Maison in there as well as the other facilities, but we definitely want to have a Battle Frontier. As I said, I'm not a huge fan of it, but a load of other people are, so I think the Battle Frontier should really, maybe add in a post-game plot to it as well, have something you have to do behind it to open up the facility, maybe, something along those lines, or, maybe actually add it into Kalos. So if Kalos is going to be added as a second region to Sun and Moon, you can have the games taking place a bit after Kalos, a bit after X and Y, and then you can go to Kalos, and maybe where the Battle Maison was in that town, I forgot what it's called, has been made into a proper full Battle Frontier with other facilities. Maybe? I don't know. But the Battle Frontier is definitely something people want to see return. And then we reached number 1. Now, if you clicked on this video, one thing probably came to mind, so you probably know which one this is because it hasn't appeared on the list so far, and that is walking Pokemon, following Pokemon, whatever you want to call them. Pokemon following you. We want to see it return, Game Freak. Come on. Since Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, that's all we want to see. That's all we want to see for every game that's come out basically since Black White, Black 2 White 2, X, Y, and ORAS. Every game you said, oh yeah, it'd be really cool if Pokemon could follow you again. When will they finally listen to us, guys? All we want to do is see any Pokemon follow us. Obviously, it was in Heart Gold and Silver, and in Yellow because Pikachu, but it was just Pikachu, and then in Diamond Pearl Platinum as well, but only for Amity Square, so it was a bit limited. But it was also in Black and White as well. I think it was Black and White, or maybe one of the games of Generation 5. There was a thing where you could get a single Pokemon to follow you for a little bit, and that was it. So it's in the game. They just need to, obviously they've got all the 3D models now they need. I'm assuming they can just port them from the battles to the overworld. It's the best feature ever, arguably, of the Pokemon series, because no one can describe how fun it was just seeing whatever Pokemon you had at the front of your party following you around, whether it was Charizard, whether it was Gyarados, whether it was an Arceus. Obviously, it was just an amazing feature, guys. I'm sure a lot of you agree with me that this is the one feature you really want to see return. and obviously there might be other features on this list you want to see return as well, so I'd say let me know down below in the comment section what you think of each of my choices, and what your top 10 list would be for features that should return in Sun and Moon. But for now, this is going to be it for me for today. As I also mentioned at the start, let me know what other tops, top 10s, top 5s, top 3s you want to see for Sun and Moon, or regarding Sun and Moon, and let me know down below in the comment section. But for now, this is going to be it for me for today. I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.